guys. So I have my friends that came here. They're developing a software platform for me for Level Up, and one of them is a female founder. So it's a husband and wife duo, and they're in the lobby waiting. I don't know if that would be helpful to have them come in and kind of talk to, or if you want to ask questions about, having sort of like the people in tech and women in tech, but it's up to you.
Of course, yeah, why not? Okay.
Tell them to come out too, that way we can all talk a little more.
More the merrier. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Did they just come?
They've been here for about 2 weeks in Colombia. From Colombia, we had our grand opening for a new location for Story, and they came out to support us and be awesome, and also just doing some work with like UPS and other people.
Okay. I can get some more chairs too. How many people?
There's just 2 more. They're in the lobby. I'm gonna see. I don't even know if they are gonna get this or not, but we're gonna try.
Okay.
Come on back. We are. You're welcome. Gotcha. Okay. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'll stop.
We usually wrap around the 4:30. So
Okay, perfect.
We definitely
Let's go get a minute.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you. She went through a prom last year, maybe?
No, so she is a teacher at Ballard. I don't know, she's still young.
Okay.
Teacher at Ballard. She's like 24, no, 26, 26?
26. Yeah,
26, and she is our program manager.
That's awesome. Okay.
Summer
That's
right now.
awesome. Well.
Thank you so much.
So, should I start? Should I go? What do you guys
Please,
think?
yeah.
So, I'm like, I want you to ask me questions and stuff because I am sure that you've had other speakers and I don't want to talk at you. I want you to ask me. And so, I'll be happy to tell you a little bit about myself first. I'm Natalia. Obviously, I'm from Colombia. I just said that. I've been here in the United States for like 19 years now, which makes me really old actually. But I am a founder, female founder. I am on my 3rd company now. I have a co-working space called Story Louisville, which is a place for people to basically do share co-working. Meaning if you have a company and you want to meet other people to help you with your company, investors, angels, or just you want to meet people in general and are tired working from home, then you can come and work out of there. We have 100 and some change members. We're really excited to have everybody from like lawyers and people in real estate to like people that are doing coding. We actually have another program that's doing similar to what you guys are doing, called Technique, which Alicia McLean is the person, and she's super sweet.
She had this shop before.
Yeah, which is how I know her. So she's doing something similar over there as well. So if you guys want to do a field trip ever, you're welcome to come out and kind of hang out. But yeah, so that's my co-working space. It's in Nulu, which is sort of like a little bit downtown, but not too far downtown. It's a pretty cool area of the business district that's very much about innovation and seeing things differently and starting new ideas and startups. So been doing that for about 3 years. And then I also have a software as a service platform called Level Up, which is what my friends are developing for me because I cannot code, unfortunately. I wish I could code, but I can't. That business we've been running for about 3 years. It grew from a lifestyle business, meaning just like something that I was doing locally. And it is basically workshops and classes. Are you guys familiar with Airbnb? Do you know what Airbnb is? Okay. So basically, if you wanted to Airbnb, you could put your house out for Airbnb and say, hey, come on over and stay here in my house. You can pay X number of dollars for it, and then Airbnb take a little chunk of that money and keeps it for themselves. Well, it's the same thing, but we do it for workshops and classes. So say you guys get really good at coding and one of you wants to teach other people how to code. Then you could put your class out on Level Up and say, hey, I'll teach you how to code, and it will cost you $5 for the class, and then Level Up takes a percentage of it. So we're going into that software platform instead of that lifestyle business, and hoping to launch nationwide here at the end of the year. So that's a little bit of what I do. So I have been a female founder for about 10 years now. Started as a photographer. Never thought I was gonna like I knew I wanted to do my own thing, but I wasn't really like, oh, I'm gonna have my own business or anything like that, like growing up. was more like, I wanna be my own boss, and I wanna have my own money, and then I wanna like just do my own thing without having to have, you know, so much restriction around my schedule, and, you know, being able to be home with my kids and things like that, because I'm also a mom. And so that's why I became an entrepreneur, just out of this idea of being able to have control over my life a little more. And also when I became a mom, I kind of felt like I was lying to my kid, because I was very much like, hey, I want you to go and live your dreams and you can do whatever you want and blah blah blah, but I was like stuck at a job that I didn't really like as much. And so I changed my mindset and became a photographer and did really well doing that for about 6 years, and then that led into the other 2 companies, and that's pretty much my journey in a very short version of it. So do you guys have questions around like your journeys and things? How can I help you? How can I support you?
Who wants to start off with questions?
Hey, I have a mint for whoever starts first. Maybe that I stole from the lobby. Should have gone for the Twigs, but no, I didn't. Anybody here like had ever thought about like, hey, I'm gonna do my own thing, and like I'm gonna be my own boss? Anybody? Ooh, half the room. This is a good crowd. Okay, cool. So those of you who have, raise your hands again so I can see you. Okay. I know you, whatever. But like, what do you want to do? So we'll go around and talk about it. Yes? You ready? Okay. Did you raise your hand or no? All right, next.
Pediatric physical therapy.
Damn, woman, like you already like know by like, how old are you?
19.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I had no clue what I was gonna do with my life at that time. So kudos to you. So pediatric physical therapist, and you want to own your own practice. That's baller. Okay, awesome, awesome. So, why specifically pediatric physical therapist?
Well, at first I was just gonna do regular physical therapy,
Mm-hmm.
but I like kids a lot, so
Mhm.
I was like, I'll do pediatric.
That's awesome. Have you heard of Kids Center for Pediatric Care? Jilly, remind me to connect you, because what they do is physical therapy that's all pediatrics based, and it is it's a nonprofit though, so you know obviously it's kind of hard, but what they do is they don't deny treatment to any patients regardless of income. So it has a social component to it, which I really like, and I've been working with them for like 6 years. They're really awesome people, so I think it'll be cool for you if you have the opportunity, if you wanted the opportunity to come out and kind of talk to them and hear about the experience and what they do, because there's a huge niche in our community, obviously. Remind me.
Okay.
Remember your name?
Medea.
Medea. All right, awesome. I will happily connect you. Okay.
My name's Grace,
Hey, Grace.
and I would like to be a minority child psychiatrist.
Wow. Okay, you guys are like, okay, I was expecting like, you know, engineer, but you guys are like changing the world over here. So like, awesome. Okay, a child psychiatrist. And then the same thing, like, why specifically that? And
I don't know, it's a story about it, but my grandma, before she died, she had mental illness,
Mhm.
and I think they stem like from her childhood and like
Mhm.
stuff she went to, and she never really had anybody to talk to.
Mhm.
So I was like, I don't want anybody to like have to go through that, because I see how it affects like the family and how it affected me.
Mhm.
So I was just like, if I can affect one child, especially like minority children, in like
Mhm.
a safe space, then it can help change the stigma around it.
That's awesome. I love that. Awesome. Anybody else wants to share? Has a business idea or something they want to do with their lives, so they're like, okay, I'm pretty set on this. No? For all of those of you that don't have an idea, that's pretty much me until like 2 years ago, so don't worry. I think it's difficult to know this early. You guys are pretty young. But what I would encourage you to do is just try. Just try everything. Like for us being people of color, it's a little more difficult because the narrative that's out there is that, oh, failure is great and you know you can like just try it and fail and you get back up and do it. Well, most of the times you only get one chance. Like if you're a person of color, you without being an affluent person of color, it's difficult to get money and try again. Like if you screw up in school, you're pretty much done, right? Like you're not gonna be able to try again. But taking calculated risks is where it's at. Like if you can make something like this work, where it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna be a child physical therapist, but I'll learn how to code just in case, right? So like exposing yourself to as many different experiences as you can, just to give it a go is where it is, because you don't really have a full perception of what that business may be, of what your path is going to be, until you walked it a little bit and just kind of gave it a try. So that's what I would really encourage you to do, is just like don't be closed off because maybe you're not good at math. Like I was horrible at math. And not be closed off to, hey, tech, it requires math, so I'm not gonna do that. Like just give it a go. If you suck at it, move on and try something else. And don't let other people's perception of you, like one of the things that was the hardest for me was when it came to raising capital, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but typically when you have a company or a startup, especially if it's a technology startup, there's a piece of it that we call bootstrapping, which means you start your business and you like threw up some website that it could be awesome or it could be just like tiny, not a whole lot of money and put into it, right? For $500, you have like this whole business now. You feel great. And you start selling, you're making some sales, and you're making a little bit of money here and there, and you bootstrap your way into growing it and growing it and growing it and growing it with your connections and your assets. There comes a point where if you want to blow the lid out of that thing and you really want to get big and start selling it everywhere, you're going to have somebody else's money. And that's what we call fundraising. So then you have to go and knock on people's doors and be like, hey guys, I really want you to let me have some of your money, and then I'll give you some of my company, which is giving up your equity. Well, that piece, when you're a person of color, when you're a woman of color, let's call it what it is very, very difficult. Only about 2% of all the capital that's out there in the world goes to women of color, which that sucks, right? But what can we do about it? And so that piece, if you don't have a network of people that can rally behind you and really open the door for you, that could be very difficult. But it shouldn't be discouraging. It should make you work. And you heard that, so it's kind of stupid to tell you again, but you have to work 1,000,000 times harder, and you have to be double, triple sure on yourself, not on your idea, not on your business model, not only that, but like you have to be confident and be able to walk somewhere and let people tell you literally that they think you're going to fail. Straight up to your face, you are going to fail. And then you'd be like, well, screw you, because I'm not. And you go and you do the thing. And for the most part, you're gonna have to ask 100 people to get one person to tell you yes. And it's not gonna be maybe the yes you want, it may be like a yes but, right? And so you have to put a lot of effort into building yourself up. A lot of times, even if it's not, and it could be like you're not an entrepreneur, that's cool too. Like it could be in your own careers, whatever it is that you end up doing. You may have people that love you. That is the hardest part. When you have people that really love you, that don't understand the path you're choosing, or don't necessarily see the vision that you're seeing for yourself, and challenging that and still going with your gut and doing what you feel is right for you. That's the hardest part, or at least been the hardest part for me. Plowing through and doing it anyways, and it's not necessarily sometimes we're proving everybody else wrong, but proving yourself right. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions? Or
I do.
Yeah.
What's your name? Jamia.
hi, Jamia.
After your photography business, did you like have a network to
So yes, so I think because I'm from South America, like here in Louisville, everybody's always like, oh, where do you go to high school, blah blah. Like, why did you go to high school?
That is so true.
So annoying. Like when you're growing up here, everybody wants to know where you went to high school. I didn't go to high school here at all, or so I didn't know anybody like growing up that would like open some magical door with money in it. But what I do have is my own personality and who I am as a human being, and I typically have a very, and I don't know what you know about Colombia, but Colombia is a third world country. I mean, so the mentality has grown over hundreds of years of like, it is scarcity all day. Like basically people don't come from a mentality of abundance. Like here in the United States, even if you're in a poor condition, when people are poor here, you still, or even if you have government assistance, you have healthcare, you have cell phones and stuff like that. Down there, if you're poor, like you literally are on like just on the streets completely like abandoned. So like what you've seen on TV that looks like, you know, children on the street, that's what it looks like down there. So having seen that and coming from that culture, I knew that there's definitely enough pie for everybody here, right? So I've always come from that mentality of like, how can I support you, even if you technically, it's not for me to gain something out of the relationship. It's like, hey, you're a human being, I kind of like you, so let's see what I can do for you, right? So that allowed me to create this network of people that were very creative, because I was a photographer, so in the arts, right? That were all mostly women, and that were all business owners. So what I gained from that was a confidence in myself, a network of women that were like behind me all day long. Like everything that I was like, oh man, I don't really know how I'm gonna be able to pull this off. They would come in and be like, yeah, that's awesome. Maybe you should try this, maybe you should that. So you have a lot of advice, a lot of people that very much just have your back, right? And then beyond that, years later, like literally in April, I just hired one of those people that I met when I was first a photographer 6 or 7 years ago, that I met her through like a creative networking thing called the Rising Tide Society. And I just hired her to be our manager for events for our new location. So you create this, even if you don't have a physical something to give someone, or if they don't have something physical to give to you like money, or you know, you always have your time, and you always have your own asset, which is, you know, your love and your personality and all those things. So I would definitely encourage you to start, and I hate the word networking, but start making relationships with people regardless of who they are. You know, whether they are the CTO of Microsoft, who I just met like a couple of weeks ago, they were in our space, they're coming to Story, and so we just signed this thing with them.
So
to like the homeless lady that kind of sits right there in front of our thing, and so sometimes I hang out with her and bring her coffee or whatever. So it's like, it doesn't really matter who those people are. Try to see how they fit within your network and within your community, and what you can do for them, and somehow weirdly the universe takes care of bringing them back in and giving them what you need exactly when you need it.
So a lot of this sounds familiar to you guys, like maybe you heard some of it 24 hours ago. Like, we had you know Britton Skinner.
Of course.
Yeah, so she came yesterday, and so she said a lot of the same things about having this supportive female network, and how your girlfriends and these women in your lives are the ones who really push you forward and take you places. And I want you guys to remember that. Like, this is a really important thing that you can take with you your whole life long.
Yep.
So, yeah. So who else has some questions? I know you guys have
We all have questions.
We all have questions. So who wants to ask?
If you could tell your younger self anything, like at the wisdom you're at now, like what?
So I have zero wisdom, first of all. Second of all, I have a little bit of wisdom, I'll take it. But I would say, so I would say to myself a couple of things. One thing was, so when I was a photographer, I got the opportunity to go and take pictures at a wedding in Hawaii. So like, these people are paying me to go take pictures in Hawaii. I'm like losing my mind, because who doesn't? So they flew me and my husband, and we went to Hawaii, and we're in this gorgeous mansion castle thing that somebody in the family, I was friends with somebody in the family, owned. And this guy was the I don't know, something for Honda or Hyundai, one of the car companies, anyways. So pretty high up there, executive of the same. And then I asked the same exact question. We were having breakfast with them that morning, and we were staying at their house, so we were guests at their house. And I was like, well, if you can give advice, what would you say? And he said to me, this stuck, it was, success is when opportunity meets preparation. And that's always kind of stayed with me as to, because when you are an entrepreneur, you sort of have, it's kind of like when you, have you ever like, I don't know, like seeing something, like sometimes you notice that there's a lot of, I don't know, red cars on the street. And you're like, oh my God, there's a lot of red cars. And you start seeing them everywhere, you know what I'm talking about? Or like you'll see like, oh my gosh, everyone's wearing this type of jeans. And now everyone, you just keep seeing it. And entrepreneurship is a little bit like that. Once your brain sees an idea or a problem, you constantly are developing ideas as to how to fix those problems. So I may be driving down the street and have a thought of like, oh, this is a business, like constantly, super annoying. But now I learned that not all opportunities should be taken, right? And that I need to be prepared when the right timing is for either that idea or for just executing something. So really being sort of prepared and understanding your own process of how you work and be ready to go is super important, because you're only lucky once or twice. The rest is on you, right? And then the other thing that I would say to myself is I wish that I wasn't as afraid when I was younger. I played it really safe for a really long time. It's like, this is the path and I'm gonna do what I'm told to do because, you know, this is the proven path to success, right? And I wish I would have listened to myself and my own instincts more. That would, I think, would have speed up my process, and I would have become an entrepreneur a lot earlier, which makes it a lot easier when you know, you're not trying to raise a family at the same time and doing all the things. So those are the two things.
Hiroshi, do you have questions?
How do you know the career you chose was right for you?
That's hard. Next, I'm just kidding. How do I know the career? So I was talking to somebody about this morning, actually, that's funny. So I'm really good, and this sounds super like egotistical, but don't let it sound that way. I'm really good at a lot of things. I'm a master of all trades. What is it? Jack of all trades. I'm one of those people that's like, oh, I can paint, or I'm like, I can play 2 notes in the guitar. Like, I could do a lot of little things. Like, I dabble in a lot of stuff, but I've never been like some of those people that pick up a guitar and they're amazing at it, or like they're amazing writers, or I'm just like, I know to do a lot of stuff, but none of it like extremely well, right? So when I was choosing a career to go to college here at U of L, I was kind of in a bind because I started with like, okay, well, I'll try art, right? And then I will try this and I will try that. And it took me like 8 years to graduate college, first of all. So I should be like a doctor, but I'm not. So it took me a really long time. But I think at the end of the day, it was worth it. I ended up with a business management degree and a marketing minor. And it led me to where I'm at, so I will take it all day. But how I know right now that I should be an entrepreneur and a person who builds community, it's because I wake up every single day super pumped to go to work. Like, I never wake up, and I know that's super cliche, I know I'm sounding, but I wake up and I am like excited to start the day. When I've had other jobs where I felt like, oh my gosh, like I don't know if I can go see people, like I don't know if I can even go to the office, right? This is like energizing and exciting. It never feels like work. Even the long days that are long, I mean, they're still crappy long days, don't get me wrong. But even those days, you go to bed, the next day you're like, okay, I'm ready to go hit the pavement. So I kind of feel like I'm in the right place.
That's a nice feeling.
It's awesome. Well, we talk about it all the time. So, all right, so I'm gonna ask you guys a question. And then you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but whatever. If you hit the lottery, no, if you didn't hit the lottery, no. I'm not, let's backtrack. If you made your career and you had like tons of money, like now you can buy a yacht and like all your family, you have, each one of your family members gets a brand new $1 million home. Like you have so much money, you don't know what to do with it. So stay there in that process. First of all, you go and buy yourself all the clothes and all the things that you want to do. But afterwards, you're like, okay, well, I'm done buying all the things. Now I feel like I want to work. Like I want to contribute to society. I want to do something cool, right? I want you to think about it. You don't have to tell me, but I want you to think about what that looks like. What does your day look like? Do you go and you talk to children and help them with their problems? Do you go and talk to, like, what is that one thing that is moving enough for you that you would do it for $0, right? But you already have cushion money, so don't worry about it, right? So for me, I would be what I'm doing right now. Like if I was like loaded right now, I would still do this. Does that make sense? So that's how I know that it's good. But think on that, because that was for me like the way that I started. A lot of times for entrepreneurs, it's like, or for choosing careers or anything like that, you start with, hey, you start with the end, you start at the wrong end almost, right? You start with like, oh, what am I gonna be? What does that look like? Instead of starting like, why? So one of the things that's a good exercise is start thinking about why, what moves me? Why do I want to get out of bed? And why do I want, what is that cause, that one thing that is important to me and that moves me to the core? And sometimes it's as easy as looking at like, what things make me sad, right? What things are sucky and I hate and I want to fix? And those are the problems that you can solve. And you can solve them through a career. So one of the things that really makes you sad is cancer, people dying of cancer. Then maybe you should become an oncologist, a surgeon. Or maybe it's specific. I'm sad that people don't have access to treatment for cancer. Maybe you become a lobbyist for that. So a lobbyist is the person who will go and go to DC and write policy or lobby for a policy to get written around cancer treatment, right? So seeing that and kind of working the problem backwards of like, what really bothers me? What do I really want to advance or change? Whether it's for your own lived experience, your parents' experience, your grandparents' experience, your children's experience, which was my thing, then fixing the problem that way through your career choice or through your own entrepreneur endeavors, it will be really awesome. Not like your little drawing. Anything else? Anything else that I can help you with?
What do you think?
I got a question. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or like, where do you see your business growing more?
So, you remember how I told you, like, I have the one business that's a co-working space, and then the other business that is the software business. So, the local business that is a co-working, so we have 2 locations right now, but through the process of doing this thing, and realizing how hard it is to raise capital and how hard it is to do all the things as a person of color and a minority and a woman, I want to fix that now. So I'm working towards having a greater impact around that, and that comes in a couple different forms. So one is we have to get more money in the hands of women so that women can give other women a chance. So there's a lot of education that goes around that. So I'm helping other organizations that are already doing that in the ecosystem to achieve that. So we'll have at least 2 or 3 more locations, hopefully. Right now, so I made a 5-year plan. Have you ever heard of that? Like where people are like, oh, write your business plan in 5 years. Well, my 5-year plan happened in 1 year. So now I gotta go back and redo that thing and figure that out. But the idea is to have a bigger network. I want to have a space that's specific to women founders and supporting young girls like you guys who are trying to sort of figure it out, and whether you're using tech or not, and that's that one thing. And then the other thing, through Level Up, we are going to launch a platform nationally this year, which that means we will have the ability to teach skills because our platform is specifically geared towards women 24 to 35 and younger. I mean, I guess more people will come, but it's specifically to women. So we're going to be able to teach skills and confidence building and all that to so many women. So that's really exciting, but I need to go and raise a lot of money, and hopefully I see myself as being in a position to be able to fully give back monetarily and invest in other women here in Louisville and then in my home country.
So is that your ultimate goal, to become like a VC? Wow, that's really cool. That's really great.
And so that's really hard because
Yeah.
so I never thought about that, right? Of like, I am not a CEO. I'm not a great CEO. I'm not. I'm a great founder. And so you have to recognize what you're good at and what you're not. I have the ability to see the big picture and say, okay, this is how things fit, and this is how we're gonna do it, and I have a really good ability to form teams, to see qualities in people and say, okay, you're really cool, I like you, your personality is awesome, here's where you lack, let's fix that and, train you to be better, whatever. So I have a great ability to do that, create relationships, I have a good ability to sell things, and so I have a good overall picture. But I get bored really quickly. I don't know if I'm ADHD or what the deal is, but I literally get bored super quickly. So I tend to complete things at like the 80% level, I'm getting better, 90% level, and once I'm bored with it, I'm done, I'm out. I am out and I'm moving on to the next thing. And so I've recognized that pattern in my life enough now to know that I don't think I can sustain being the CEO of a company for longer than 3 or 4 years before I'm ready physically to move on to the next thing. So how exciting is it to be able to be in a position where I can literally do that for a living and hand people money to say, you have a great idea, cool, everybody has a great idea, but you have a great personality and I think you can do this and I'm gonna invest in you to do that. That would be a dream come true for me, so.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So how exactly, and I'm sorry if I'm too personal, but like how exactly do you make your money? So do you just have investors or?
So the first company I opened, which was Chocolate Box Photography, it was a lifestyle business, meaning it was a small mom and pop business, right? And because it's a service, right, when you're taking pictures of people, you're just providing a service, there was not a lot of cost associated with it. So I was like rolling in the dough. It was amazing because you're just giving your time. So so I took that to a 6-figure business pretty quickly and it was awesome. So I made a pretty decent amount of money with that, and then from there I invested some of that money as a family. Me and my husband invested some of that money into opening the first location for Story Louisville. So when we opened the door for Story, it was already it was very bootstrapped. It was like we went to IKEA and bought a couple of chairs and it wasn't great. But people paid, right? So I had a viable business model. There was market fit. People said, hey, we'll pay you $100 a month to come and do this thing and do that. So that was great. Fast forward 2.5 years now, we're in the third location, right? This thing is like 12,000 square feet. It's huge. So now we gotta buy tables and chairs and it has to actually look nice. It can't be IKEA and stuff. So there comes a point where you need other people. So that's what I was talking about. When you're scaling that, you need revenue, then yes, we got an investor. So I got one investor. It was extremely hard. I wanted to die. It was horrible because it was so horrible. And this is like a lot of money, $200,000, right? It was $200,000, which I felt like was, so much money. I've never seen that much money put together. But in the grand scheme of angel investing, $200,000 is like $1.50. Like literally, most people are raising, $1 million to $2 million to start something like that. When you talk about development, especially a physical space, you're talking in the millions. So I was like, I can do this with $200,000, awesome, blah, blah, blah. So I knocked on a bunch of doors, slam, 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 slam. And I was about to give up. I was like, screw this, I'm out, this is horrible. And confidence building wise, because you're like, people are like, yeah, that's a great idea, but no, right? And so you're taking it personally and you're feeling horrible about yourself. But through my network of just knowing people, I finally found someone who was like, hey, listen, I think I have someone that may be able to help you. Just because they saw me like in the corner rocking back and forth and felt bad for me. And they introduced me and they made the intro and then our relationship with our angel went that way. So I raised $200,000 for this thing and then opened the door. With Level Up.
Who's the investor?
He doesn't want to be named,
Anonymous?
but it is a local investor,
Okay.
a local investing group that is like the unicorn of all people. If you want to do this personally, I will talk to you about it.
Okay.
But they're amazing people. And so the other thing is, okay, so for Level Up, we're going into a different type of fundraising because there are different ways that you can get money. So you've heard of Kickstarter, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
right? So there's crowdsourcing campaigns, and when you're talking about consumer products where you can actually use them also as a marketing tool, those are a great way to kind of get validation for your product. Because we've been in the business of the workshops for almost 3 years now, actually 3 years on the dot, we felt like doing a fundraising campaign would be the way to go so that the market would tell us where to go next. Wherever we can get the most concentrations where we're gonna start opening up, along with other cities that we have. So we're gonna do a little fundraising there, only maybe 100 or 150,000, and then the rest we're gonna do via VC in Cabo. So, yeah. But then both businesses are already operating, so they do take revenue from customers. So that is how we're making money. But it did take forever to get paid, by the way, guys. So if you do choose to do this, it's not glamorous at all. You know that. It is not glamorous. It is.
But then you sit in such a great position after you go through the struggle, and then when you actually start to see the growth.
Yep.
I mean, it's so inspiring to
Yeah.
see what other people can help you do with your
Yeah.
dream.
So it's hard for a little bit, but then it's awesome. So you're gonna struggle for a minute or two, but then you'll get better.
That was a good question.
It's a long answer. Sorry.
I love it.
No?
You guys all have questions for sure. Everyone's
Taya,
gonna-
what's your question?
Wait, Chris has a question.
I'm sorry, Chris.
That's okay. No, I was gonna ask, do you think there's any conflicts that come with you being a woman of color in your current practice?
Can we stop the thing?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
About to get spicy up in here.